You grow up in a border town where the primary exports are agricultural goods and narcotics. Your mother cleans hotel rooms for minimum wage. Your older brother drives transport trucks. He does not haul freight, he hauls product. You do not ask about the manifests. You focus entirely on athletics. You train at a municipal gym with a failing foundation. You hit the heavy bag. You learn geometric angles. You learn physical leverage. You possess a high kinetic IQ. You win regional amateur tournaments. You analyze your trajectory. You plan to turn professional. You calculate the projected earnings. You plan to purchase real estate for your mother. Then your brother makes a fatal logistical error. A shipment vanishes in transit. The cargo carries a wholesale valuation of $250,000. The cartel does not utilize insurance policies. They do not write off missing inventory as shrinkage. The cartel reclaims its capital. They repossess your brother. He is permanently liquidated. The financial deficit remains on the corporate ledger. Corporate debt within the syndicate transfers to the next of kin. That is you. The organization dispatches a regional manager. He visits your gym. He wears a tailored suit and handmade shoes. He watches you spar for 12 minutes. He evaluates your biomechanics. He assesses your footwork. He calculates your potential market value as a kinetic asset. He approaches you and explains the financial terms. Your brother's deficit is $250,000. The interest rate compounds weekly at 10%. You are required to service this debt. You possess no liquid capital. You own no collateral. Your only monetizable asset is your capacity to inflict and absorb physical trauma. You agree to the terms because declining is a terminal decision. You sign no paperwork. The contract is verbal and absolute. Your legitimate professional career is terminated before the first bell rings. You are acquired by the shadow market. You are inserted into the lowest tier of the syndicate's combat division. You fight in dirt floor barns on the outskirts of the city. You fight in abandoned industrial warehouses. The sporting commissions have no jurisdiction here. The referees are salaried employees of the cartel. You are no longer classified as an athlete. You are categorized as a financial instrument. Your matches serve as vehicles for illegal wagering pools. The house extracts a 20% fee from all bets. A calculated fraction of your fight purse is allocated to service the interest on your debt. The principal amount barely fluctuates. You quickly learn the microeconomics of human cockfighting. You analyze the baseline inventory of your opponents. They are largely untrained laborers. They rely on emotional aggression. You rely on mechanical efficiency. Aggression expends finite cardiovascular resources. Efficiency conserves them. You dismantle your opponents clinically. You target the liver to force systemic shutdown. You target the jaw to trigger concussive resets. You actively minimize your own physical damage. Damage is classified as operational overhead. Broken bones require a recovery period. Downtime halts the generation of revenue and pauses debt repayment. You fight on a bi-weekly schedule. You win with statistical consistency. You generate reliable, compounding returns for the regional syndicate. You establish yourself as a dependable asset. The logistical handlers analyze your win-loss ratio. They upgrade your operational tier. You are extracted from the rural barns. You are transported to subterranean concrete arenas within the city limits. The betting pools scale exponentially. The demographic of the clientele shifts. You see fewer agricultural workers. You see more mid-level cartel lieutenants. You see briefcases of unbanded currency. The stakes escalate. Your operating margins improve marginally. The principal debt decreases by fractions of a single % per quarter. By your third year of operational deployment, you are promoted to the premier combat circuit. You enter the patron's exclusive arenas. These are heavily fortified private estates. The security perimeter is maintained by paramilitary contractors. The audience demographic consists of high net worth individuals. They wear imported designer clothing. They consume premium distilled spirits. They place six-figure wagers using encrypted offshore accounts. The economics of this tier are macroeconomic. You are now matched against high-grade human inventory. You face dismissed military personnel. You face disgraced professional fighters. You face desperate men chained to identical debt structures. The physical requirements of the job scale proportionally. You must adjust your methodology to maintain your win rate. You study the precise anatomy of blunt force trauma. It is applied physics. Force equals mass multiplied by acceleration. You optimize the torque generated by your hips. You shorten the trajectory of your punches. You maximize the kinetic impact per square inch of your knuckles. You eliminate emotion from your process. Emotion is a tactical liability. It introduces variables. Variables cause statistical deviations. You calculate spatial distances. You execute pre-programmed algorithms of striking. Jab, cross, hook, pivot. It is a binary output system. You remain upright. The opposing asset falls. The syndicates run predictive modeling on your performance. You become a blue-chip commodity in a highly volatile shadow market. The patron oversees operations from a fortified balcony. He views you purely as a revenue-generating unit. He dictates the parameters of the outcomes. Often, you receive corporate directives to manipulate the match duration. You are ordered to carry an opponent precisely into the fifth round to maximize the algorithms of live, in-fight betting. You comply without hesitation. You manage the cardiovascular pace. You inflict calculated superficial trauma until the designated timestamp. Upon reaching the target minute, you execute the knockout sequence and terminate the match. You function as a compliant employee, executing a corporate mandate. Year 5 marks the onset of accelerated physical depreciation. The human musculoskeletal system is not engineered to sustain continuous concussive impact over a half-decade. You begin to experience severe asset degradation. Articular cartilage in your knees deteriorates. Subcutaneous scar tissue accumulates around your orbital bones. Microfractures compound within your metacarpals. Your neurological reaction time degrades by crucial milliseconds. In this specific market sector, milliseconds distinguish between solvency and physical bankruptcy. You manage your structural failures with a steady supply of black market pharmaceuticals. Prescription painkillers are logged as daily operating expenses. Injectable anti-inflammatories are routine maintenance costs. You do not verbalize your physical decline. Expressing pain signals operational weakness. Weakness invites immediate replacement. The organization maintains a continuous scouting network to acquire fresh talent. They import younger fighters. They secure cheaper labor. You observe the new acquisitions arriving at the training facilities. They are highly motivated. They possess intact cartilage. They fight with reckless abandon. You spar with them during mandatory training camps. You educate them on the harsh realities of the industry. You fracture their noses to demonstrate the flaw in their defensive guards. You teach them that youthful enthusiasm cannot overcome optimized structural integrity. Yet, you understand the mathematical certainty of your situation. Your operational timeline is strictly finite. You review your ledger. The outstanding debt has been reduced to $50,000. You calculate the remaining logistical requirements. You need approximately 40 additional fights. This equates to 2 years of sustained operational viability. You decide to maximize your short-term output. You accept bout agreements on 48 hours notice. You enter the ring with compromised ligaments. You wrap your hands with excessive tension to stabilize failing joints. You inject localized anesthetics to mask acute structural failures. You step through the ropes. The arena lighting is blindingly bright. The crowd noise registers as static white noise. You filter out the auditory input. You focus entirely on the immediate objective. Neutralize the opposing asset. Secure the contracted purse. Service the remaining debt. Year 7 arrives. You are scheduled for a bout in a subterranean facility in Juarez. Your designated opponent is 19 years old. He carries no corporate debt. He is driven entirely by internal ambition and the promise of upward mobility. His fast-twitch muscle fibers are pristine. His strike velocity exceeds yours. You immediately recognize the high statistical probability of a catastrophic failure. You adjust your strategy to rely entirely on accumulated operational experience. You pull him into the later rounds. You utilize heavy clinches to systematically drain his cardiovascular reserves. You wait for an algorithmic error in his striking pattern. He overextends on a right cross. You execute a practiced countermeasure. You land a short structural hook to his temporal lobe. His neurological system resets. He collapses. You secure the victory. However, the physical cost is severe. Your left orbital bone sustains a complex fracture. Your right retina exhibits signs of detachment. The projected medical overhead will entirely consume your purse for the evening. You sit alone in the concrete locker room. The regional handler enters the space. He does not offer congratulations. He hands you a manila envelope containing your predetermined cut. You perform the final mental calculation. The deposited funds cover the remaining balance. The debt is zeroed out. You are officially classified as solvent. You anticipate a psychological release. None occurs. The ledger is clean, but the resulting state is a complete void. The handler evaluates you under the harsh fluorescent lighting. He does not see a free man. He sees a heavily depreciated asset requiring extensive maintenance. He informs you that the patron has authorized a new proposition, a fresh contract with an upfront signing bonus. You process the data and realize the underlying truth of the supply chain. The initial debt was never a financial necessity for the cartel. It was a psychological mechanism of employee retention. Now that the mechanism is gone, they simply require your continued labor to maintain their betting volumes. You look down at your hands. The metacarpals are permanently fused into unnatural angles. You lack the dexterity to hold a pen. You experience shooting nerve pain when turning a steering wheel. Your biological hardware can only form fists. You possess zero transferable skills for the legitimate economy. The shadow market is the only sector where you hold any value. You look at the handler. You accept the envelope. You nod your head. You ask for the date and location of the next scheduled bout. You are the cartel boxer. You understand your function. You will continue to step into the ring until the asset is completely liquidated and ceases to generate revenue. That is the standard business model. That's a wrap for today. If this made you think, drop a comment, subscribe for more. See you in the next.